Let's listen to this rabbi. Acts 21 is what he's talking about. Let's take a listen.
It is very complex and very broad. From all the things in the law, from all the laws, all the commandments in the Torah, the only one that James could pick out was a Nazirite offering. He could have brought a regular offering, a Thanksgiving offering. He could have it didn't have to be an offering in the temple. It could have been wearing tefillin, observing Shabbos. It could have been eating matzah on Pesach. There could have been so many different things that he could have had Paul do publicly, and that would be a demonstration that he's loyal to the law. From the Christian scriptures, it's obvious that people that were loyal to the law wore tefillin. They wore phylacteries. So let Paul put on some phylacteries and walk around, and then everyone will see that he's loyal to the law. Why does he have to go to the temple and pay for the Nazirite offerings? And to me, the answer is very obvious. Because Paul was the one that thought of this new idea that Jesus is the sacrifice to end all sacrifices. And James and the following in Jerusalem, the Christians, the followers of Jesus in Jerusalem, didn't believe that.
Okay, let's stop right there. We got a lot going on.
He doesn't bother even citing Paul, does he? He's painting a straw man. He's painting up a straw man.
Well, yeah. It seems as though he's actually studied the scriptures, the apostolic scriptures a bit. But there's just a lot going on here. First of all, I agree with him. I think that why is it that the Jerusalem, what we call the Jerusalem Council, or the Jerusalem, the elders in the Jerusalem church, why did they decide this is what you need to do? And I think that there's multiple reasons for that. And I think that he's actually hit on a question that I think that most of Christianity needs to ask. Why did they choose this?
Agreed.
Because there's plenty of things. Now, some people could say, and there may be truth in this, it could be said, the temple was the central worship place of the Jewish religion. And so for Paul to go and do something in the temple was needed because that's where it would have been seen. Okay. But he brings up a good point. Why doesn't Paul just put on phylacteries? Why doesn't he go, put on some tefillin? Or why doesn't he just go to the temple? Why? And why not do, a Thanksgiving offering? Why this offering? Thoughts? Do you want to take this?
Well, I think his characterization of Paul as Jesus is the sacrifice to end all sacrifices. That is a
right.
That's a straw man here.
And not only is it a straw man, but I think that he and the rest of Christendom has read that into the text. Now, I understand it. Are
you going to play where he talks about the sin offering?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think so. Well, let's
in case it's not there. What in case it's not one of the clips? What he goes on to say, this rabbi, is that James does not believe that sin offerings have ceased.
Right.
And he says Paul believes sin offerings have ceased. That's what he sets up. And then he says, so when James picks a certain thing to have Paul do publicly, he doesn't pick something that is on the side. He goes to he says it's at the heart of where Paul's wrong, and so makes Paul do something against Paul's own conscience.
Yeah, but what he's doing is he's picking up mainstream Christian theology on this, and I agree completely with him on that.
And the idea is because the Nazirite vow, in the completion of the vow, there is a sin offering is involved.
Right.
And so what this rabbi is portraying is that James knows that and says, I got him.
Right. And they're fighting over this.
He's pitting James and Paul against each other.
But that's not the case.
Telling Paul to do this vow. And then Paul, I guess, sheepishly does it, which includes a sin offering. And then James wins the day. That's the way he's portraying.
Let's just put this in a proper time frame, and I want to do this for a specific reason. When we were talking about dispensationalism at one point, a pastor contacted me, and he was saying, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. This is egregious. You have no understanding of dispensationalism." I said, "Okay, well, what do you?" He said the sacrifices were done away when Christ died on the cross, and I said, "Well, then why did the apostles and Paul continue to do sacrifices in the temple?" And I cited Acts 21, and he said there was a year of God allowing them to understand this theology. Well, this is not a year later, by the way. This is about 21 years later, and that's accepted by just about everyone. Just about every scholar that I've read has put this at least 20 years down the road, and we can put that into chronology in the book of Acts. With all of that said, it's not like they didn't have time to search the scriptures. Paul goes off into different places to search the scriptures and to really understand his experience on the road to Emmaus and all these different things. And so the point is that we got a huge amount of time. The Jerusalem church and Paul are still going to the temple, and they're still offering sacrifices. They didn't get the memo that the rest of Christendom did. The rest of Christendom says, oh, Christ was the last sacrifice, and we don't need to do sacrifices anymore. And ultimately, there's multiple reasons why I think that paying for the Nazirite vow of these men would have been a sign. Number one, it's expensive, and it would have shown his seriousness. Number two, it does interact with the temple, and I think that Paul clearly wants to show that he believes that the Jerusalem temple is important and that those sacrifices are still needed. Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.